a start. Is it what you expected?
It is, and more, and to be the voice of 120,000 dedicated men and women is a real privilege. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm not saying it's easy. It's a big task, especially when I'm dealing with a government who don't care about policing. Simply
don't care.
They don't care. Don't care about policing at all.
Sajid Javid has famously, his brother's in the force. So.
Indeed, and he uses that at every opportunity. And I've met the Home Secretary, and I do believe, and I've said this on record, he is the first Home Secretary I can recall who gets policing. I think he understands policing. And I do think he wants to do his best. But there's a problem, and it's called the Prime Minister. And I hold the Prime Minister firmly to blame for the state that policing in this country is in. The Prime Minister has personally shown nothing but contempt for policing, and that has been demonstrated in this week's budget.
Well, you're looking at her time as Home Secretary, and during that time, recorded crime did fall, and there were needs to make efficiencies and economies.
Absolutely, I agree.
In the nation's finances. Yeah. And there's a need to modernise the police as well, and some would say police federations just holding back the modernisation which we need to have and the efficiencies that we need to have.
Peter, I've been a police officer for almost 26 years, and in all of those 26 years, policing has been modernising, it's been changing, it's been adapting. And I was the first to say, when we entered into this austerity, then policing it was right and proper. Policing took its fair share of budgetary pain. But what we've seen over the years, it's anything but fair, anything but fair.
And now you've got this call for bobbies on the beat all the time. I mean, are you still doing that one as well? More visible policing? You know that intelligence is what actually stops burglaries and solves crime.
What the public want to see, more bobbies on the beat.
But do police officers want to see that?
Well, no, but what I want to see...
They want to solve crime.
Absolutely. Police officers want to respond to emergencies. They want to protect the public. They want to deal with victims of crime. And we want to do that in whatever way we can. But what we need are more officers. And I accept we must do things differently, and we are. We've adapted, I would argue, more than any other public sector. That's been ignored by some. It was recognised by the police minister this week at a conference where he said that policing has reformed, and it's done really well at reforming. But we're being pushed to give more efficiencies. There comes a point where in a drive to be so efficient, you start to become inefficient.
OK, so Sarah Thornton, former Thames Valley Chief Constable, now nationally, on a national stage, saying we've gone too far with hate crime. Well, that's one of the big priorities that this government and any other politician would say to you is you've got to look at this and look at the huge Me Too movement and all the rest of it. Yeah. Is it right that... Is it only because she's saying there's not enough money, or is she trying to just bring the pendulum back?
No, I think what Sarah Thornton was saying was that the government are looking at adding other areas into the definition of hate crime. I mean, we have some chief constables who want us to record and investigate issues that are no crime at all. So I do think the pendulum's gone too far.
What's an example of that? Record issues where there's no crime?
Yeah, where people's feelings have been hurt. So where we have a spat on social media. I mean, it's bonkers, Peter. It's absolute bonkers.
Isn't it the modern world? I mean, when people used to have an argument in a pub and then the police would be called, now they have an argument on social media and it could lead to violence.
And if it does, it's absolutely right and proper that the police are involved. But we are seeing more and more. I mean, even when I was operational once, I was deployed to a call from a parent whose young children, were arguing over the remote control. We are not society's social workers, police officers are not, and they shouldn't be used as such. So we need to educate the public. The public, in the main, support policing. They support their local police. But there's got to be a balance. We can't be all things to all people.
The public wants intelligent policing as well, doesn't it? And it wants graduates, for example. Do you still oppose that upskilling of the police?
No, I've always said, I think the police officers we have here and now, there's been a drive by the College of Policing and others to have degrees in all parts of policing. And I think that demeans the police officers we have. What I do welcome is the level that officers are working at. That should be recognised academically, and I'm working now with the college to make sure that message is delivered.